I make the test 1 2 test 1 2. Okay, audio's good. We're golden. We're golden. Now begins the speedrunning process to find my own YouTube channel, find the stream, and then notify the wonderful members of the Trenchborn Legion Discord server. The recommended is cooked. I don't know how this happens. I only use this computer for streaming, but here we go, I suppose. Let's see. Let's go to live. Is you painting a base? It hasn't loaded yet. Oh no. Oh, it had. Oh, it only like just loaded. Okay, hold on. Stand by. We'll get there. We'll figure this out. Well. Hey. Oh my God! I never set it to public. Son of a bitch. Everyone, hold on. Hold on, dude. Hold on. Hold on, dude. Hold on, bruh. There we go. Now it will be up. I'm like, why can't I find my live stream? Where did it go? Oh. It was unlisted. Okay. Ah, yes, we use the blah 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 blue blue blah. Cool. Fun stuff. Okay. Now we're there. We can copy that. Hopefully that's copied. Go back. We can paste it. There it is. All right, now we can ping everyone. At everyone, wake up. I say, no. At everyone. What? Nope, come on. There we go. Not Steam is live. The stream is live, ladies and gentlemen. The stream is live, okay? Today's going to be a bit of a different stream. As in, it's going to be the stream that I originally planned for yesterday. Fair? Fair. And everywhere you go, there you are. Okay. Here we are. We're here. Let me pull up the chat. Let's look at all the wonderful, wonderful viewers we have so far. See what shenanigans people are already up to. Let me... Nope. I need to shrink you down a bit. Hold on. There you go. Perfect. Now I can throw you out into there. Now, howdy everybody. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Today is going to be what I want it to be, okay? We're going to paint the base, okay? But let me get a little let me run through a little discussion. We're discussing stuff, okay? Ready? Also, may have to change my webcam at some point. I've sort of changed up my setup. If you're looking, you might notice that I am a lot closer to the camera. I moved the camera a lot closer because I was trying to move it out of the way because it was actually in the way of the stream chat. And so I would have to wait a couple lines for it to go up unless I really, like, kind of peeked over my camera there. But now I have the new camera set up, okay? And what this should also allow is me to... It's also brighter? Probably. But now, if we were to go to painting, now everything can kind of be zoomed out. This is just the exact way my webcam is cropped, okay? It comes out as a square. It doesn't come out as a usual freaking rectangle like this frame here. It's this. This square is what it likes to be. And I said, okay, sure, we'll see what happens. I don't even... Unless they might do this for Zoom or something. Who knows? Let's go for a stream. Awesome. Hopefully it's a good one, okay? I got some fun ideas. I'm playing around with camera angles as well. I don't know if you can see, but I kind of moved. This desk is now right here. Very close. I can just touch more. I can touch Dominus for Sarum. He's not way out in the back. Everything's a little closer. You can kind of see the gold ship Terminator all alone on a shelf. Very ominous stuff. Very ominous. And I have another little table that you can't see here. But I have reinstated now a Stream Deck when I accidentally nuked the computer by deleting a folder that I'm like, oh, that's taken up a lot of space, but I don't think I'm using anything. Fun fact, it was the reason anything worked. So I wiped a whole bunch of information out. So I finally went back and got some more sound effects. Now we have sound effects again. So now I can actually, we can do the Vine boom. Hopefully, and I would actually, hold on, I'd have to hit that. So we can do the Vine boom. There it is. And we can do other stuff. There's Taco Bell dongs. I like Taco Bell. The Taco Bell dong. I haven't eaten Taco Bell in forever. But, you know, we have some fun stuff there, as well as some other stuff to hopefully make the stream better. But this stream I am actually going to try now to paint Mortarions base. And we're just going to kind of get right into it because I've gotten into a bit of a flow, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you what I have done so far. Okay, now, a little bit has happened since yesterday. Yesterday, all I was able to do was base coat the wood. Today, I was able to unify it with a wash of wood grain and water. Okay, I was able to do that. I also began work on the Poxwalker. So right now, he looks very colorful. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening. Also, I don't know if you can see his eyes. His eyes look a little goofy. I was trying something, and it's kind of funny, so I'm going to keep it. But I put some dirty down rust paint in the eye sockets to see what would happen, and they made some natural-looking reflections, funny enough, except he kind of just looks a little on the wacky side, to be dead honest. I also rusted a spike, because there's nothing scarier than a rusty nail. We got, sorry, we're already getting some great we're 5 minutes in and see Nisty's already come up with a great meme. It's the new setup. What can I say? I am, I'm an egg. And I'm glowing, okay? I'm just positively glowing. That's absolutely incredible. Hello, Cheapy. I can see you there. Wonderful stuff. Now, the Poxwalker is basically done. I might come in fact, what I will do is I will come in because for the past 3 hours, I have been walking around, going about my day, and keeping in my pocket has been this. A bottle of dirty down rust. Because from what I've seen, what I've heard, and from what I've found online, is the best way to use this stuff is to, have it a little warm. A little lukewarm, or whether you put it in like a warm bowl of water from the sink or something like that, or carry it around in your pocket for a few minutes. I'm gonna be honest, I put it in my pocket at the start of the day and forgot it was there, so it's been in there the whole time. So what I am gonna do is I'm going to kind of rust up this dude's wrench a little more, okay? I like the rust that we have going on here. There's a little too much metallic around here for my taste. I kind of want the whole thing to be rusty rather than he just picked up a new freaking slightly weathered wrench, you know what I mean? So without further ado, let's just get right into it. It's gonna be chill. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. It'll be fun. How many sandwiches were there yesterday? Now, counting or not counting viewer participation, because there, as far as how many I ate 2. I ate 1 very respectable sandwich, okay? And then I was then forced to eat another one with more peanut butter than I've ever had, like, over the course of all of my sandwiches combined, pretty much. And that was a battle. That was a bit of a war, okay? To get through that. And I finished right on the buzzer. Because then I started timing I said, I gotta finish this by then. Otherwise, what the heck am I doing? And I actually did it. It was a hard-fought battle, but I won. It was a little nuts. And if we're counting the viewers' participation, I think we had altogether 4 or 5 peanut butter jelly sandwiches that everybody had rallied up to. Because we had my friend Sheba Bun, who made a very, very thick double peanut butter sided sandwich. We had Mossy Mint. Mossy, who's the member in the chat with us now, he made one, again with a ton of peanut butter as well. And then we had the greatest painter of our community, Leaf, also make a peanut butter jelly sandwich before he went to work. So it was really there was a lot of camaraderie over a sandwich, okay? You haven't seen that much camaraderie in a lot of other things. So the fact that it happened over peanut butter and jelly sandwiches was pretty spectacular, dare I say. It was certainly a moment. Okay? And that is not on the goal for today. The goal today is not Eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I'm still full from yesterday. It was a little nuts, okay? I'm walking around, and then I went to play a game with Shiba Bunny, and he's like, why do you sound weird? And I'm like, maybe it's because I got, like, peanut butter stuck in my throat. And he's like, that makes sense. And I'm like, thank you. And then we continued on to not even make it past the shore and peak. But, there. Now that rust should be drying a bit, and hopefully that will look a lot better as we go along with it. The next step here, there's a lot more stuff to do here. You only got J? Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, interestingly enough, that was a funny meme, sorry. There's really no set way in which I do things from this point on. I will look at a detail, and I will go and I will randomly paint it. I think, because I still have some of this color on the palette, I'm going to take what I used for this guy's uniform. Fun fact, a little lore dump for you, for anyone who hasn't heard the lore dump just yet. If you look at the Poxwalker's gas mask here, and you look at one of the soldiers' gas mask there, you can see that they're similar, okay? And my lore is that this guy has been turned into a zombie, this guy is dead, and so this guy is actually based off of my Russian World War I inspired Katachan proxies, all right? And those guys are painted in a specific way with specific colors, and I have sort of adapted that to the rags on this guy, painting a Russian uniform World War II color. Now it's called World War II. It looks like war, or one. And they also have like orange leather, very orange leather. So I just use an orange leather right there. And once we wash it, it will tone it down a little bit. But we did a little bit of that, and it's kind of fun how it turned out in the end. I kind of vibe with it. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the rest of the Russian guys we have on the palette. Can I paint one dead soldier like Frank Honey? Which one strikes us as a Frank Honey? I don't know if I could do a Frank Honey. We'll see what presents itself. You know what? What if I might try to... There might be some sneaky freehanding we can do. What if I do Frank Honey's face right there? Or co-sign it Frank Honey. FH. I'll do an FH sign right next to an X there, and we'll see what happens. No French dead man? He's right here. This guy right here. I don't know if you can kind of see it. There's the French uniform there. He's missing a bit of his face, but everywhere you go, there you are. Now, without further ado, let's paint it. I'm going to pull out the wet palette right quick and take some Russian uniform World War II paint. Now, it says World War II. I am led to believe this is a very similar color to what they used in World War I. Similar to the German gray World War II color by Vallejo. They say it's World War II, except they used Felgrau in both wars. So, but everywhere you go, there you are on that whole front. The Western Front. Ha ha ha. Now, I do want to be fairly... a bloated mini so it fits Nurgle. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. We'll see. Yeah, I do have a couple of... Let me see if I can find them. Hold on. There we go. So I do have a couple of Nurglings. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but that's what I do have. I do have a couple of them that do usually go with Mortarion. I just, for some reason, I cannot vibe with these guys. I don't know why. Well, I know why. They feel just a little cartoony to me. Just a little bit, okay? And I mean, like, having this guy kind of run around, it looks more like a cartoon plague rather than a whatever. A bloated bodies. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, these guys are definitely going to be some of that. And there will be pale stuff, and there'll be all kinds of shenanigans happening. I have a method. I do have a method. We'll see how that method goes. All right. First things first I'm going to do is paint their uniforms. And we got 2 Russians, so I'll take the Russian uniform World War II. Take a fairly decently sized brush. I'm not trying to be particularly careful. That's another thing to note. When painting bases like this, I don't really need to worry all too much about being neat because there's so much dirt and there's going to be so many washes that unless it's something egregious, we can get away with using a brush this big. Look at the size of that. This is the brush I usually use for all of my painting, okay? Just so you got some sense of scale, all right? But because we're kind of doing a nice, quick little look, I can simply just use this and go over the main area. Anything that's a little close to the crack or to the bridge between the uniform and the dirt will ultimately just be covered in dirt paint. Have you been put off PBJ sandwiches for the near future? Perhaps. I might very well have been. We'll see where I'm at tomorrow. Tomorrow, the story could just completely change. And then I'll have one. The thing is, I usually have one before, or lunch of some kind, but lately it's been peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I've been having a lot of those right before I start the stream. And, it's been good, except everyone wanted a Chef Sherlock Spiner stream, which I couldn't really move my whole setup, including my PC, into my kitchen, and I couldn't really get a stove in the workshop, at least in a, decent amount of time. So I decided, why not just make the sandwich and eat it live? And that was a very successful stream. Funny enough, I didn't have any expectations, but it still surprised me nonetheless. It was a pretty interesting whole bit of information as far as that front goes there. Now you can kind of see we're almost done with this first little bit of main uniform here. And I don't know if you can sort of see, it kind of blends in very nicely, just using sort of the fluffy end of the brush, because once we eventually do go to using dirt, a lot of the uniforms lose their color just because I kind of put dirt all over them because I feel like they would be very dirty if they're rolling around in mud before they meet their untimely demise. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting look. I've also never painted. One thing I do also want to say, I haven't ever painted a dead Russian soldier yet, Russian inspired. So this is kind of fun. This is the first time I'm ever doing this, so it is interesting. You should have PB&J sandwiches with cheese. Oh, fair enough. Ever thought about putting a mini fridge in the workshop, or is there already one? Maybe you could stockpile. I have considered mini fridges a fair bit. Actually, funny enough, lately I have been I haven't been looking into it, but the thought has been sort of on my mind as of late, as I'm starting to. I kind of have some plans for some fun streams in the future, and there's some fun ideas that I want to do, and to kind of help with those ideas and to help make the whole stream in a whole lot more fun and interesting, I've been thinking about kind of shuffling around some tables and maybe putting in a mini fridge at some point, so we can have snacks and drinks at the ready for whatever reason may be. Because I also want to do at some point some like day-long streams, and so if I were to do that, I would definitely want to be stockpiled with some refreshing beverages. There has been a second sandwich. That basically, yeah, here, let me showcase the meme real quick. This basically sums up yesterday's stream. There's yesterday's stream in a nutshell. That's it. So that was Cnesty's kind of, you're cooking up a storm, good sir, my goodness. I'd like you to stream your kitchen where you're cooking all these memes up. My goodness. All right, now that guy's all nice and base coated. This green is going to contrast very interestingly with the brown dirt that I use. I'm very excited to see how this turns out. I've never done this before. Now I'll paint the second Russian guy, and we got kind of some stacked corpses going on here. This is going to be interesting as well. Now these are Bush knew, he did know. He knew that he knew there was a second sandwich, and he never warned me. And then next thing you know, we have the mysterious peanut butter. Okay, where did that come from? I said I was out, but then magically it reappeared. What kind of conspiracy theory is this? I don't know. But back to the sculpts here. The STLs that I printed these guys off of, that these corpses are right here, are from the War Games Atlantic Great War Casualty STL set, okay? Now, their casualties don't actually include any Russian corpses. In fact, they are basically they are strictly German and French. They are German and French, and then you have some African divisions of the French and the German, I believe, but no Russian. So what I ended up doing was just taking a German corpse, which is what this is, not clipping the head off, kind of breaking it off because it is resin, and just putting on a Russian head onto there. And I'm gonna kind of see what this all sort of looks like in the end. I'm not quite sure how it'll turn out. However, I'm kind of confident with some of the stuff we have starting over in this area. But ultimately, we will see. Also, there's not a whole lot of uniform on this dude. This guy's very decomposed. He's extremely decomposed. Also, it will be interesting to compare because Mortarion, which is who this base is for, has this guy right here, okay? This kind of leaning up, sort of half propped up on some rubble-looking corpse, right? Now, I painted a typhus a while ago, a couple months ago, maybe a year ago at this point. I don't quite remember. Time flies. But I put the same corpse in front of typhus, except I kept the German head on it, and I painted it in a German fashion. So one thing I am interested to see is if painting in a different color scheme and doing a simple head swap is enough to sort of differentiate the corpses enough to, warrant me using more of the same corpses. Because I would ultimately prefer to do that, because otherwise I might have to do shenanigans where I try to put the STL files in Blender and try to repose and do some sort of digital sculpting, which I am not the best at, if I'm being honest. But we will see if we're for the oh my god, okay, sorry, that was an insane Wreck-It Ralph 2 poll, C-Nisty. He's there's more stuff. PB&J. That's basically what happened. That's essentially that was it. That was the final 10 minutes of the stream. You watch the final 10 minutes of the stream and it is that image. That image sums it up absolutely beautifully, dare I say. Beautifully / horrifically. All right? Now, also, I don't think the Russians, I would have to double-check the uniforms. But I don't think they had puttees like these guys here, which is very, very interesting. So we'll see how we do that. It's a GIF? Oh, it didn't load as a GIF for me, good sir. That's interesting. I know the GIF. It's the bunny again, because I believe, wasn't that from the, that's a GIF? I thought it was from, wasn't it from Wreck-It Ralph 2? Oh, there, now it loaded. There it is, hold on. There, now we can watch it on repeat. Fun. Incredible. Riveting, even. It is good stuff, dare I say. Now, this uniform is just about good. You might think I'm missing a bit of the sleeve here. I thought I was too. No, those are just bones now. So that is rather, spooky, one could say. And I think I am going to finish base coating cropped it. That's why it didn't work. Fair enough, fair enough. Now, let's see. I think I am going to now move on. And we're going to base coat the rest of the bodies before I start doing details and stuff like that. Next, I'm going to paint. Speaking of the Germans, I'm going to paint or actually, C-Nisty, I don't know how long you'll be here. So, for you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the Frenchman first. Or at least base coat him so you can see that he will be French. I will do that. I will do that in honor of our resident C-Nisty. And we'll see what happens there, huh? Let's get a little paint on the palette right there. And now, for our only French guy, I believe, we'll begin some painting. Now, I don't have any Frenchmen in my army. I was originally going to in 9th edition, back when infantry squads existed. So there were a total of 4 types of infantry. So I was going to have German-inspired, British-inspired, Russian-inspired, and French-inspired. But then 10th edition came along, and they wiped them off the face of the planet, which was sad, because I was actually really looking forward to having a French part of the division. Now, could I just paint them for the sake of painting them? Yes, but I mean, what's the fun? I would want to play with them. I would want them to be official. I would want to be able to run my 4 different types of infantry just for the sake of doing it. You can skip French, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that was GW just trying to tell me something at the end of the day. Also, the blue here is very appetizing. It's a very appetizing and bright blue, dare I say. But now, that was, that was fairly quick to do. And that worked out quite nice. So there he goes. Now we can move on to painting some Germans. I got 2 Germans on here, all right. We'll see what we can do with them. I have a German here with his very classic copyrighted or trademarked style helm. And I have another one here with his Pickelhaube helmet. This was a Cavalier way back in the day. Now let me grab the German color. This is German Field Gray, World War II. But I mean, it's the same gray that they used in the First World War as well. Both used the same one. They just call this one World War II. Fair enough. It's kind of a fun gray color. It's got a hint of green. It's interesting. Fire Ant is driving, but she says hi, and so do I. Well, hello, Fire Ant. Thank you for tuning in via your driving. Very fun. All right, now let's get some Feldgrau on this guy. A lot of open rib cages on these sculpts. We have an open rib cage here and an open rib cage here, which is, it's only 2 out of like the 6 guys we have here, but it's still more than I would expect traditionally, So it is interesting. So it is noteworthy in my opinion. This guy is also missing a bit of his leg, so I will just kind of concentrate the uniform to basically just about his knee. Kind of got his whole thigh ripped off. That is unfortunate. I do feel bad for the dude. R.I.P. At least it didn't turn into a poxwalker. That's another thing. Would you rather stay alive but be a zombie or die? I guess that's an interesting conundrum to, speculate upon. We'll see. There were French in your lore, but they surrendered instantly. Was always reminded of Wolfstein. Might be a good idea. Could explode. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. That might be fun. I've programmed myself. I've played choose Poxwalker. Fair enough. Fair enough. I've played so much just Battlefield 1 that whenever I see the Pickelhaube helmet, I just think of a cavalry class of a dude with 100 service stars. That means like, I think 10,000 kills on horseback. And he just somehow knows what he's doing on there. And when you see someone like that, you kind of just accept your fate. And you go, R.I.P. me, and you go about your day. And now, this guy's almost base-coated here. I'm trying to go a little thin. I don't want to clog too much of the rib details, which I sort of did right there, but we can kind of get it to come back a bit. Now the style helm should be fine. The Pickelhaube helmets, I did paint a different color than what they were traditionally on my Death Riders, the unit that actually utilizes the Pickelhaube helmet sculpts. Rather than doing like a black and gold, sort of like how they were, or doing a sort of khaki cover, helmet cover, I just painted them a dark green, the same armor green that I use for my tanks. And armor like this helmet right here. Very similar stuff. Poxwalker is insane. Thank you. Yeah, it's I had some fun earlier today. I just kind of just said yes to any thought that came to mind. The eyes look a little goofy if I had to yap about it, but what I did was I put some of that rust speed paint, or not speed paint, oh my goodness, the Dirty Down rust on inside the eyes. I wanted to see how the rust effect would turn out, and it sort of made like 2 reflection-looking things and kind of makes him look a little goofy. Or a little crazed, I don't know. Would you be more terrified of seeing amalgamation like this with goofy eyes or with intimidating eyes? I don't know. I don't know if I could make that decision. Both are horrifying. Very, very much horrifying. In death, service, and so dead body. Yeah, fair enough. How is Mortarion going to fit on this base? Believe it or not, he will. He will. This is going to be... Maybe make his eyes bleed. That's a good idea. I think I'll do that. I like that a whole lot. See, Nisty? This is why I stream some of this stuff, because we got some absolute amazing suggestions. Mortarion will fit. There are contact points. So you can probably see one where the main contact point will be. Okay? You probably don't see where the other contact points are. Okay? Let me tell you. Right here. Right up there. And right here. Those are the two other contact points. There's only 3 contact points. 1, 2, 3. And it somehow all fits. I dry fitted this before I painted any of it. It is somehow going to work out. It was a bit of a challenge, but it was kind of fun. I do love miniatures that have, and that we're talking like sentinels or knights. Basically any big model that has thin legs. So like a horse. Okay? Because the horse, there's so much room to do work on bases. And I love basing. I love adding a whole bunch of details, and I just mean countless details. On this base, I really went above and beyond what I even usually do, just because the idea... This is Mortarion. This is kind of the centerpiece of a Death Guard army. And so I kind of wanted to go above and beyond with this whole sort of operation here. Will there be Frank Honey after Mort is finished? There might be. We'll see. That also reminds me, I'm going to make a note right after I base coat this. That's what I want. That is interesting. That is very interesting, okay? I got to get the Frank Honey soundbite. I got to find that. I got to find a walkthrough. Or actually, I can watch the old stream where we first find Frank Honey. I got to get basement time. Got to get basement time as a soundbite, okay? That would be wonderful. And it needs to happen, so I'm going to do my best to make that happen. I knew I was forgetting something. I just forgot it was that niche. Alright, now these guys are all base coated for now. You can still see some white on there, that's all dirt. And we'll see what happens. Hold on. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Thought I saw something. Basement time? Yes, 420th Manhattan, man. I'm gonna try to get a basement time, dude. Just for you. Do I think I'll ever dabble in other Chaos Demon armies? Maybe like Bellicor. I would never say no. I would never say no. However, as of now, the main reason I'm doing a Death Guard army is because I like to set up my army, my whole collection, and look at it, and I like to make scenes. But the army has had no opposing force, so it's just an army charging into who knows what. I want to make the Death Guard army so my Trenchborn Legion, my custom Astra Militarum regiment, has an actual opponent when I set it up on the table. And so that's kind of the main reason why I do Death Guard. I also really like the opportunities for just doing some random stuff with colors, like the Poxwalker. I can just splotch stuff around and get something. And I have a lot of fun doing that. Other demon armies might be a little more, at least for me, sort of complicated. Because the Death Guard, they can be messy. That's kind of their whole spiel, is making them nice and messy. and it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't dock it, but maybe. But as of right now, there's no plan. Have I taken the Titan for a walk today? The machine spirit needs outside time. That's a very good question. He's meditating is what he's doing. We'll see what happens there. Also, oh my god. Okay, sorry. Okay, Scout of the Year, C. Nisty, found Frank Honey voice clips. That's Lego Dimensions. Oh my god, I remember Lego Dimensions, my god. Is that a, no. Sorry, that's just funny. It's just funny how you found that. I think this conspiracy goes all the way to the top is my favorite. Okay, fair enough. I'll take a look after the stream, maybe. We'll see what happens there. Am I going to paint a Great Unclean one, or is that too cartoony? Good question. I might. I think it would be possible. I think looking at the Great Unclean one, I think I can... I don't think it's too cartoony. I think it's possible to do something with it. My ASMR to sleep. Fair enough. Also, next, we got one more soldier here. This guy's a little more kitted out. I kind of put on some extra pouches and stuff. I'm actually going to give a little more attention to this dude here. I've been wondering how to incorporate this body. I don't know if anyone remembers. I don't know if I ever mentioned it. This guy was almost on our Rogel Dorn. I think that was the first thing I painted on YouTube here, was a Rogel Dorn, and I was debating whether or not to include this guy dying on the Rogel Dorn, which we didn't, and now he's here. So there's a full circle moment for this guy. That's why I saved my bits. You never know when we'll use them. You should do a great clean one conversion, perhaps, maybe so. But for this guy, I'm going to be base coating him with English uniform. Also, when I glued the head on, I used super glue and did all kinds of stuff. There's a little hole right under his neck, so I am going to have it like, maybe he got poked by this spike here. Maybe something like that. Maybe do some gruesome shenanigans. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Great Frank Honey conversion. Maybe so. I might try to just see if there's a Frank Honey minifigure on eBay, and just, even if it's $1,000, I'm going to buy it just to have it. Frank Honey cardboard cutout, maybe. We'll start getting some characters lined up. Maybe a Frank Honey poster. That might be fun. We'll see what happens. A great peanut butter one. I became the great peanut butter one yesterday. Also, you're singing the peanut butter jelly time theme song. I just remember the peanut butter jelly time from popular MMOs back when I was a wee lad. Sherlock, to your question earlier, are zombies alive? Oh goodness, now that's a great question. I don't know. I'm unsure. I would have to take a look at... I know there are some bugs out there, some flies. And these bugs or these flies will, like, will get into an animal's mind, and they will possess it almost. To turn it into a... make it do its commands or something like that. Something. We'll see. So I think maybe it would be it's brain dead. But because it is still moving, it is technically alive. That goes to the other debate of, is alive just, alive, like we say. Also, I don't know why I'm doing... The trousers of my British infantry do not actually have English uniform, so I don't need to paint those guys. I'll show you what color they are in just a moment. I'm going to try to be slightly more careful with this guy, being that he is above wood, and I would rather not paint our freshly done wood. Popular MMOs OMFG. Ball. Thank you, yes. Any Nurgle vehicles? I will do Nurgle vehicles, okay? Like a Chaos Rhino, Blight Lord, oh my god, a Plague Burst Crawler, that's it. And then whatever the flying drones are. I love those. I love the look of those. And I think that might warrant some very fun stuff with Rust, possibly incorporating shotguns. And I'm talking about an actual firearm. Shotguns. If you don't understand the context, fair. But yeah, I do want to do a Death Guard vehicle at some point. Maybe after I finish my Death Guard sort of pile of shame that I have worked my way fairly decently through. Might do some more Death Guard streams. Maybe to cap all of that off. Or maybe even just to do a little work on it. I might get a vehicle sooner than later. We'll see what happens ultimately. It's all very up in the air. And I have some other ideas for some other fun stuff as well. But I do want to do a vehicle. I think those could look incredible. And done up in the white armor that I do with everything else, I think there's some potential for something that hopefully looks cool at some point. But ultimately, we shall see. All right, now we got a decent base coat there. There are some spots that I wasn't quite able to hit, and because I don't want to mark up the main wooden trench planks, I'm going to take out a slightly finer brush, and I'm going to get in some nooks and crannies that I couldn't quite reach previously. What about Trader Guard with the Death Guard? Now, I do have an idea. It's not exactly Trader Guard per se, but let me actually showcase the product I'm talking about real quick while all this dries. Now that's all good. Solar Auxilia models? Possibly, possibly. But I also have something that I want to showcase. Let me go over to the monitor. And let me pull up the Google real quick, okay? And let me go to a company that I like, that I will hopefully be sponsored one day because I'm about to dump thousands of dollars in this company. This company is called War Games Atlantic, okay? They do have, so to answer your trader guard, it wouldn't necessarily be Astra Militarum. It would more so be, now where was it? I think it's part of their World War range. I think, no, it is not. Okay, it would probably be part of, I haven't been here in a decent bit. Hold on. Hold on, where is it? Where is it? Hopefully they still have it. Not here. They have shipping containers? Oh! Oh, cool. 20-foot shipping containers. Okay, I love this company so much. Hold on. Where the heck is... They have... It might be Trench Wars. There it is. It's in their sci-fi. Trench Wars, okay? So you have Trench Wars, right? The Russians absolute traitors in World War XI. Yes. Trench Missionaries. Wait, what? Where's the weird war conversions? Hold on. They had a... Hold on. Didn't they have a... I could have sworn they had a... Oh my god, no. Dude, for the love of... Weird war conversions. Okay, there we go. Yeah, they have it. Okay, so it wouldn't be necessarily Trader Guard, but they do have pieces. They have arm pieces that go on existing World War I models, and basically turn them into amalgamations. You can kind of notice they go into tentacles and all kinds of random stuff, so you could use it to make... they also have rats and stuff. I wouldn't use the rats. But stuff like this. Tentacle arms. So this is a German guy, and they have stuff like that. So I think I would make a bunch of Poxwalkers, and I would combine Poxwalkers like we have here on this trench, the official Poxwalker. This guy is like a well-mutated soldier, okay? Conversion, okay? But I think it might be fun to have, like, some fresh... These guys just got gassed, and now they're actively mutating, and it's like, this all happens in the span... Like, 15 minutes ago, these guys were human, and they were fighting against Nurgle, but then next thing you know, they change. They get... So that'd be as close as it'd get to Trader Guard as far as that entire front goes. But... As far as, like, an actual, like, I'm painting up a Trader Guard force, I don't think I would do that. I do like my guard, and I do like fighting for the Emperor. The Emperor's my G. He's my guy. Now I'm gonna paint the pants of this British soldier here. And for that, I will use, also funny enough, just a little paint lore for my army, okay? And we'll see as I go to paint this dude's armor as well. But the armor that I paint on my infantry here is German camo dark green. And you can see this is the same helmet that we have on our dead soldier, done in that dark green stuff. Honey, have you seen my pants? That's an elite reference. Holy crap. GG. GG no re. But yeah, I caught that sucker. That was a crazy pull. That was epic. But on the armor, I use that dark camo. And on the pants, I utilize this color here. Cam olive green is what I use. Honestly, I don't need to tear off the entire thing because I've kind of broken a whole bunch of stuff here. Now, let me put a little bit of that and just kind of coat the pants as I yap. As I yap, okay? I kind of try to keep my colors, at least in some way, all interconnected with my army. Okay? The cam olive green that I'm using to paint the pants here is also what I use as my mid-tone when I paint my tanks. Ciao, Bulgarians. I've got to go. Fair enough. 420th Manhattan Man. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the stream. Thanks for the killer ball knowledge as well. Absolutely incredible stuff. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Streaming chat, I'll be right there in just a moment. All right. But... And then, so I paint this guy with those two different types of green. That dark green and then this sort of mid-tone green here, right? And then my Russians I paint with that Russian uniform World War II. And they usually have guns. They usually have las guns, actually right here. And the las guns I also paint cam dark green, okay? So over the various different amounts of infantry in my army, we have these three paints. And I use these three paints on my tanks. This is my base color, my first highlight color, and this is my fine highlight color. And so that's kind of how I keep all the colors sort of intermingled and intertwined as I go about painting the wide world of the Trenchborn Legion. So that's kind of a fun fact that I like. I don't know, but is that interesting? Is that fun? Do you do anything similar? Do you paint a, do you kind of keep similar colors like that? I just sort of try to see how I can use colors that I've used previously in different ways. And now I have people talking about stuff here. Frank Honey conversion. Okay, fair enough. Yep, fair enough. Yep, I see it. I see it. He clipped it. He clipped it. Sure, like you should buy Cultist and Kit Bash guard bits into them to make something like what you were talking about. Yeah, you could. That's possibly. That's possible. Very possible stuff. All kinds of stuff. Could you print the Nurgle Land Raider too? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. The thing is, right? Apparently, GW is doing some price increases. And I do like to buy vehicles from the official company. They are getting a little expensive, even just a little expensive. I might look into printing at some point. And maybe for the science of it, I'll print a vehicle. But usually I like to stick to official vehicles, except for, obviously, a Warlord Titan. That's a bit out of my budget, personally. But I mostly stick to third-party infantry and stuff, just because if I wanted a mass infantry official army, I would not be here now. I would be homeless. Warhound Titan in the color scheme will be white and gold. The Legion name will be Angels of Terra. White and gold is a killer color scheme. I like that idea very much. And I wish you luck on that. That is very cool. Warhound Titans. I've been seeing a lot. There's a lot of Warhound Titans making the rounds lately. There's a lot being showcased, a lot being printed on the Trenchborn Legion Discord server, which members and Patreons have access to. And it's kind of inspiring me, okay? We might, we'll see what happens, okay? But we might very well have a, an actual Warhound Titan video soon enough. Maybe painting one live. What Warhound? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Warhound where? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I guess if you're gonna, me and Cheapy at some point want to play a 40k scale game of Titanicus, and I think to do that you need 2 Warhounds, right? I believe Cheapy's the Titanicus expert here, so I might make 2, paint 1 live and paint 1 for a video. That might be interesting. Can you come back into videos for the Warhound? I don't see why not. That might be fun to do. We'll see where it goes. I have 2. I'm the expert. Yes, while I was editing the Warlord Titan video, Cheapy went ahead and made 2 Warhounds. 40k scale Warhounds, by the way. And he has since also made, I think he's also made Titanicus scale. He's the Titan guy. We call him the Titan guy, believe it or not. Fun fact for you all. Okay, hold on. We got a question here. Hold on. I just got a little tedious kind of helmet that's just leaning up against the fence. So let me give this a little care, and then let me answer your question right after that, my friend. Let's see what happens. Show him the photos. Do you have the photos on hand, Cheapy? I don't think I don't have them on this computer. So if you have them, please show them. And then I'll showcase them. Okay, but this is pretty unrelated. What specific FDM printer or brand would you recommend as a first purchase for someone who wants to 3D print figures? Figures. What kind of figures are you talking about? Are you talking about 3D printing stuff? Let me show you a 3D printed figure I have. Okay. So this is a Space Marine. This is a Space Marine Terminator that I 3D printed. Okay. Are you talking about a figure like this, or something bigger, or like a Warlord Titan or something, or will it be figures maybe about 40k scale size? sort of similar to this. Because if you're looking to print figures like that, I would recommend a resin printer, and the company I would recommend for that is Elegoo. I would recommend Elegoo. I've only ever purchased and used one figures like 40K scale and maybe some large scale. Fair enough. I went with a resin printer when I first got into 3D printing. And, let's see. And then, yeah, Cheapy also says for FDM, he'd recommend bamboo. If you're thinking of FDM, if you're not thinking so much about details or something like that, FDM's a great choice. Me and Cheapy have a Bamboo Labs A1 printer. And Cheapy says, oh yeah, you can get with a... You don't have good conditions for a resin printer, that's the thing. Okay, well, I think Cheapy here has an idea. He would say get a Bamboo Labs printer with a 2, I'm assuming that's a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. And that can get pretty fine, and I think that can get some comparable, maybe not as detailed as resin, but it can get you some decent quality, or some decent figures. There will be some layer lines. There might be a little extra cleanup going into the operation, but looks like an 0.2 millimeter nozzle on a Bamboo Labs is the way to go. And yeah, if you're looking for resin, Elegoo's great. Coffee also says they're great. Awesome. I'm glad. That's good. When I was first researching resin printers, funny enough, I was looking at the... It gets pretty good, Cheapy says. Yeah, fair enough. FDM it's getting there. Printed on... Okay, hold on. Actually, dude, the community is rallying around you, Mr. AD 537. Take a look what the community is. This is C Nisty, who's in here with us. And this is printed on Bamboo P2s. Now, let's take a look at some of the figures that C Nisty has printed here, okay? Looks like we got some Gundam. This looks to be about a 40K scale. That's actually some pretty decent, that's some decent detail. I'm kind of impressed with that. My goodness. He printed, is that an apothecary? Am I correct? That's a Space Marine. And wow, that's actually... FDM has come a long way. I didn't even know it came this long way. This is, that's actually some pretty impressive stuff happening. And that's on Bamboo. Very, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. And then he's currently in the midst of printing a Warhound Titan, which is looking kind of incredible. I love his color scheme so much. I vibe with it so hard. It's so good. I love it. I love it so much. But yeah, so there's straight from the community, Mr. AD. That's what you can get, and this is with Cinisty here says it's a Bamboo P2s. Still have to tweak it, and he's still tweaking it, and he's getting stuff like that already. Oh wow, yeah, I'm not too worried. Like very fine detail because I mostly get Warhammer figures for display and maybe play. All of these make me very hopeful. Awesome. I'm gonna be honest. This makes me hopeful too. And I wasn't even hoping in the beginning. This is very impressive what FDM is starting to do. I mean, yeah, and you can fiddle with settings. There's a whole bunch of tweaking you can do. That's a whole nother hobby in of itself. That's very impressive, Cinisty, what you've been able to do. And thank you for sharing and showcasing. The Space Marine's kind of blowing me away. That's very impressive, because you'll have people who want to paint the miniatures, to have them, and I'll get back to painting while I yap about this. Some people will want it as like a display piece to really showcase some artistic skills and do all kinds of crazy brushwork and stuff that some fine layer lines might inhibit. But if you're mostly using it for play and just to have an army that you can visually recognize as an army, I see, with what I'm seeing right there, that's some that gives me a lot of hope for the future, and that'll make it a lot more accessible for people to actually get in on that whole operation. That is very cool. Thank you again, Cinisty, for sharing that. That is very dope. Very cool. Very cool to see. I'm going to paint the backpack on top of this guy here. He's kind of leaning on his backpack, getting a little rest in between, dying. R.I.P. That's not too terrible. It's not the I also do the backpacks. I usually have these rags also, done up in that cam olive green color, same as the trousers. I guess you might say he's carrying spare pants. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, hold on. I think Cheapy's back. Boom. Okay. Also, we had someone talking about Warhounds. Cheapy wanted to showcase his Warhounds, which he printed, because like I said, I'm getting a Warhound itch. Here's some stuff printed by Cheapy, and this was printed on an 0.4 millimeter nozzle by Cheapy, and this was some larger scale stuff like you're talking. Well, still 40K scale, but you know it's big. Okay, this is what our boy Cheapy has gotten done, and gonna be honest, I'm very impressed. I am very impressed with how FDM has come along. I think I might very well give FDM a shot. What I might do as a fun experiment is I'll print 2 Warhounds. I'll do one in resin, one in FDM. We'll see what we can get there. So this is what Cheapy was able to achieve. He was able to 3D print and paint these while I was still editing the Titan video, and he's got 2. He's got one with the plasma cannon, one with what appears to be, what is that, a double volcano cannon? I might be wrong. It's also got a triple flamer, which I love. The look of the triple flamer is the greatest. We do not get better than this as far as miniatures go, dude. As far as design goes, triple flamer is great. But yeah, so this is Cheapy, and this is his Warhounds with his Warlord. I mean, he's got a whole Titan. He's got a 40K Titan army going on here. He's got a whole bunch of stuff happening here. All right. He's also got a base for his Warlord. If you want to see the base, he does have a Colts 3D profile with the bases, and he kind of showcases the bases off, I believe. Very, very nice looking stuff. The OSL and the energy weapons, agreed. It shows a very nice, almost mint green color. I vibe with it a whole lot. Also, great minds, and he did this all on one printer. Cheapy, you did this all on one printer, right? The Warhounds, yes. I want to say they were done all on one printer. I think the Warlord, there was a couple, I think it started on another printer, right? And then you eventually got the Bamboo Labs A1. But yeah, the Warhounds, I want to say, that was all done on one printer. And you can do all kinds of stuff on a Bamboo Lab, all on one. GP confirms it is all on one. I think there was just one foot done on something else, but you can't even see it in the photo, so it doesn't really make all that difference. You can also print. You can print all kinds of stuff on FDM. If I may showcase, if I may have some fun real quick, because I do have it on hand. I 3D printed a chainsword, which was fun. This is also on a. I 3D printed this on the Bamboo Labs A1, and it turned out pretty decently. The paint job, you can kind of see here, failed. I did fail the paint job pretty grievously, but there's a lot of stuff you can do, okay? And this is also all on one printer. I simply, also you can kind of see right behind me there, this little bone color. That's another sword that I've also printed. That's the Sword of the Creator. If anyone knows that, that is some ball knowledge, okay? But I haven't done anything with nozzle changing, settings changing. I've only just used what I find off of Maker World and go off with that. And it has been very successful as of late, so I can't complain. It's been good. You have a life-size AK. That is sick. I do want to 3D print a BAR because I can't get a BAR because I can't afford it. And I also probably can't legally own one because it's like a machine gun. But I want a BAR because I love that. Actually, no. What I 3D print is the not the daylight gun. It would, I would be 3D printing a Benet Merci 1909, okay? My favorite gun in Battlefield 1. Favorite machine gun. My favorite gun, period, is the Lee Enfield Mark III Star. Now, let's see. What else do we have for these guys? We can start, we'll start getting up on some details here, okay? I'm going to take some orange-brown paint, which I already just have laying out on the palette, okay? And I am just going to start doing some of the complementary colors that go onto my Russian soldiers. That being maybe a BB gun conversion. Oh, I forget. I think they do sell a BAR BB gun. It depends on what I'm going after. At some point, I think it might be fun to make a whole World War II setup, loadout, to just LARP around in from time to time. I would need to do a World War I themed one first. But, you know, everywhere you go, there you are. If I took to, you know, a BB gun conversion sounds fun. I just don't know BB gun mechanics. I think I don't know if I've ever... actually, no, I've shot a BB gun once. Funny enough, I was working at the gun range, and someone was cleaning through his garage, and he came up and he said, "Hey, I found this little mini M16 BB gun, battery-powered BB gun. Do you want it?" I said, "Yes." And so that became a point of war between me and my siblings as to whoever got that. And you would just shoot it at someone, and, you know, you would kind of take joy in their suffering, and, you know, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of fun stuff and somewhat concerning stuff as a kid. But, you know, you kind of grow up and you realize, okay, maybe God wouldn't like that too much, so you don't do that too much. But you're like, I have returned from The Hobbit. Were you watching The Hobbit? That's fun. I like The Hobbit. Okay, gets a lot of hate. I actually like the movies. That will be my biggest controversy. Is The Hobbit trilogy was not bad. It was not bad. That's what I put out into the world there for all to see. Yep. Very cool. Very cool. Welcome, welcome. We're painting a base now, and we're not stuffing our faces this time for YouTube clout. And it's all going pretty peacefully, and we're having fun engaging with the community, and hopefully helping some people with our combined intellect live. So that's fun. My cue to leave. It is the next day, and I have to wake up early. Fair enough, Cnisty. Cnisty, hopefully soon. Maybe next week. I'll do a couple of earlier streams, Cnisty. It's also only Tuesday. Maybe Thursday as well. Maybe this Thursday. We'll see. We'll see what happens, Cnisty, but I'm gonna try to incorporate some stuff. It was crazy, laugh out loud. Yesterday's stream was something. It was something for sure. I'm sorry to say, but the Goblin King has the best voice in all the movies aside from Smaug. Okay, this dude also thinks Smaug has the best voice in The Hobbit. I didn't know this. Okay. Again, this dude continues to win me over. Early stream, the Promised Land is real. It is. It is. It very much is so. And yes, Doctor Strange was the greatest voice actor in The Hobbit, in my opinion. All right. Shotzi. Anywho. Oh, I don't think you could hear that. Hold on. Now you can hear it. Hold on. You said Guten Nacht, Shotzi. And Shotzi, I've come from the German. I've said, what? I thought that was interesting. So that's a soundbite I have on there. Probably should get rid of it so that it's not on there anymore. But everywhere you go, there you are. No problem. No problem, Cnisty. No problem. It was just an interesting thing that I noticed. It's my bad. Now, details. Details make the difference, as they say. Next thing I'm going to do... Let's take a gander right here. I'm going to kind of try finish painting all this stuff here. Okay? There's more armor that I keep forgetting. I haven't painted these infantry in forever, dude. It has been a long time. Hopefully, though, soon I will be painting a lot more. Hundreds more, even. So, you know, this is a good... It is kind of fun to go back down infantry memory lane, if you would. If that makes sense. Do I have a Discord link so I can, like, look back to the printer advice? Yes, the Discord is for members and Patreons only. If you were considering, the Patreon is linked if you wanted to see if it's something in your budget or not. Once you're in. You're not out unless you're a delinquent, but I would assume you're not. So it's not like you have to actively re-up once you get in. Once you're in, you are in, and you're in to stay. If that helps entice in any way. And that's just kind of how we get some kickback here at the Sherlock Spiner studio for the shenanigans we're up to. Now I'm going to... I forget that there's shoulder armor to be done here, but there we go. We figured it out eventually. Bamboo everything. Yeah, but one key takeaway, yeah, just Bamboo Labs, can't go wrong. You have a P2. Ah, fair enough. Believe me, it's hard to be kicked from the Discord if I'm still in. Well, you've simmered down because I feel like we both knew it was about to go nuts in there. And, you know, we had mutually assured destruction is what we had, dare I say. No, just kidding. We have fun. Are you sold? Perfect. Cnisty has the for access to the Discord. Essentially, yeah, becoming a member or a Patreon. Essentially, so yes. Also, sorry, I missed a bit of uniform here. So everywhere you go, there you go. There you are. I'm there still too. That is true. He is also still there. Yeah, see, Nisty has a P2, which he's gotten some very interesting stuff happening. There's also... What just happened? Someone's talking? What? New person? I think Patreon is cheapest option. I think it is. Also, Patreon is... we had... I think the Frenchman is in here with us. Baguette maker. And I'll get to you, Cheapy, in just a moment. But he became a Patreon. He was our first Patreon. And I was doing some... I was trying to... 0.2 nozzle is a must, says Sinisty. So there's some takeaways. Bamboo Labs and an 0.2 nozzle. And I think that's a decent spot to go for. But he was the first to join the Discord. Okay? And he was the test. He was basically the guinea pig, essentially. And let's see. Yeah, I made it... There was a way to link Discord and Patreon. So if you go on to Patreon and you to subscribe on Patreon, that's £2. There's £2 is the free. The $5 gets you the $5 US because I deal in that. Is what gets you into the Patreon, or gets you into the Discord. My apologies. But what it was £4. Yeah, it'll be $4. There's $2 if it's if you don't need to be part of the, if you don't really want to be part of the Discord, but you still want to support, I have that little option in there, just if anyone wanted to. But then the $5 US is what gets you into the Discord itself. But there was a way I found out how to link, and I'm kind of impressed with this technology. Okay, but there is a way to link the Discord and Patreon. So if you become a patron, and you link your Discord account to your Patreon account, I believe it will kind of automatically just put you into the Discord. It moves you in, it assigns roles automatically. I figured all this out honestly just a few days ago, maybe a week ago. It was kind of impressive. It was kind of fun too, and it all works because Baguette Maker was our guinea pig. He took the plunge, so gotta it linked after for me. After. Fair enough. Fair enough. Then yeah, maybe after is the way to go. But it worked out in the end either way, thankfully. All right. Right now I'm just taking some German beige World War II. And I'm using that for the harness and the suspension on this infantryman right here. And this kind of resembles, more or less, the webbing used in World War I by British soldiers, which is kind of why I go for it. I did try with a khaki color, just straight khaki, but I found that it was a little bit, it was just a little dark. It was a little dark, so I used this slightly brighter one. It might be a little brighter than historically what was used, but I think it was fine enough to kind of warrant. The other thing is a lot of this army is sci-fi. It's interesting. I love the French guy, but one suggestion. If I was a betting man, I would bet on you recommending a certain red and black color scheme. Let's see. But you should inform the non-members too if there is no stream, maybe. Yes, I do. You can post on YouTube, so if there was a no stream day, I would probably post it there because we are starting to grow our community slowly but surely. It's a very interesting, very fun thing to watch in real time. It's very cool. But yeah, I appreciate the suggestion, Mr. Sinisty. It's very kind of you. Also, yeah, Cheapy is freaking out in the chat in the Discord. He can see the stream, but his chat is absolutely broken, so he's communicating via the Discord. The early war uniform, but the dark red and black color scheme. Oh, do the red and dark blue. I didn't read that. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. No, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I was more... So now I should go to sleep. See, Nesty, thank you for being here as long as you were. That is very kind of you. And, get a good sleep. You got an early day, so go absolutely crush it and do Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Mr. Baguette Maker, that's a very interesting concept you bring up. There will be different types of infantry at some point in the future. In the Guard. I would have to go look. I haven't really looked at the rules in a fair bit. I've been working on, well, painting these guys in kind of the YouTube channel. I haven't been playing a whole lot, / at all. But there might be some interesting opportunities to take some specialized infantry units and turn them into similar ideas and make those into reality, sort of like you said. Like I was, like the Scions or the Kazarkins, okay? We can do some elite infantry stuff with them. First, I was thinking maybe do an American-themed green, sort of, basically just these guys, except a whole bunch of doohickeys on them, but painted up in sort of a World War I-esque style, but we'll see what happens. The dark red and black or the Napoleonic? Good question. I was thinking of your sci-fi. Fresh flesh, cheapy. As of now, there is no new person. There's rumors. We're trying to sell people on it. Okay, we're all doing our best. Ain't that right? Correct. Wonderful. All right, now that's all. Oh, hold on. We got a little more pale to go. Now this. See, the thing is, I do have to be a little careful on this infantryman right here. Wasn't there Cathuman guards? There might have been. I don't quite remember. But I have to be a little more cognizant on this guy. This guy's like a fresh death. He's also right at the front of the base. Kind of how this, how Mortarian's going to be is he's going to be on the base facing this way. Okay, so basically he's working his way down the trench, essentially is what's happening. So this guy is going to be the first thing a lot of people see when they look at the base. So I do kind of want to make him look a little decent. I think that's fair. Also, I'm going to have to review... Do not link me to the Discord on Patreon. Is there a thing on the Patreon with the link? That is interesting. Let me have a think. I think there might be something on... Oh yeah, I think on Patreon there is a link that sends you to the Discord. I believe. I know I should know this like the back of my hand. You saw a connect to Discord thing? Oh, fair enough. Let's see. Let's see if it works. Let's see. We'll see what happens, eh? Give me a sec. Fair enough. Also, the other thing I do is I also do... Wait. No, I don't. I just do... They can put in the Discord username, and you can add them. Fair enough. Wait a minute. I see a profile picture that I have not seen before. With Sherlock's permission. Baguette Maker, that's a great point. I don't know what kind of admin privileges you have. I need to take a look at what... Oh, I think I know what it is. They're in. They made it. You did it. You're here. Do we have a new member in the Discord? Let's go. Sick. Oh my god. Welcome, Coffee, to the Trenchborn Legion Discord server. You're the 18th person to join. The Discord server is now an adult. Let's frickin' go, dude. That is sick as all heck. That is awesome. Welcome. Let's see. We got a ticket. Let's see where. Let me hold on. So let me see. So are you able to make your way through the server? Are you able to chat? Are you able to do all that? I apologize, everyone. But I do just kind of, I want to make sure the process is as smooth and decent as possible. There's a whole, and so all these trials and error sort of just help me. All right, you say yes, fair enough. I got a ticket tool. Okay. We got Cheapy already, he's already doing his part there. That's fun. I didn't check before opening a ticket. My bad. Fair enough. That is all good. A-okay. But I think these trials and tribulations, there you go. Isn't that right? You know, now hold on. Now, I believe they're a Trenchborn Legionnaire. I believe their roles are auto-assigned. It looks like they're already in, if I am not wrong. If I'm not wrong. We'll see. Okay. They're chatting in the Discord and the ticket. Sorry, everyone. I know. It's like, get back to the pain. I'll be there in just a moment. It's an exciting moment. It's an exciting moment. When we get a new member, it's kind of fun. It's fun. The community grows a little bit, and so I just want to make sure everyone's experience is as smooth as possible. So thank you for bearing with me here. Your roles are auto-assigned. You are good to go. That's awesome. Cheapy said we're good to go. This is perfect. This is great. I think we're gaming, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, let's see. Yes, can Coffee see the rest of the server? Sorry, everyone. Yep, we're doing administrative work here. We're getting through it. We're getting through it. We have a rivalry between the French and the German in the server. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening here. You have ball knowledge. Sherlock can confirm. Yes, I can confirm very easily. Looks like everyone's good there. I'm gonna get back to painting now. Cheapy is being a great host as per usual. He's quite a guy. Beautiful. Wonderful even. Welcome, Coffee, to the Trenchborn Legion Discord server. Thank you so much for becoming a member on Patreon. That is absolutely incredible, and that is deeply appreciated. That is awesome. I love that so much. That is very kind of you to do. That is sick. Transcript saving. What's in the Librarius Mechanicus? My goodness. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Now, I'll get back to painting now. Thanks for bearing with me, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We're getting some colors, slowly but surely, on the base here. I'm going to kind of finish off this guy to the best I can. Going to paint his boots. The boots on him, I paint chocolate brown. When are the felonids going to be included, or is that for my cosplay? Don't know if they'll ever be included. If I do actually make a uniform, I do technically already have an old uniform. It's Alpenflage, it's Swiss, but I do have a complete setup in that regard that I have worn for a short one time, and I actually competed in a three-gun match in that uniform. Great pockets, love it very much. But if the outfit I would do if I were to do one, it would be a World War I British setup, probably, is what I would do. To match my Lee Enfield, because I do have a Lee Enfield, and then I could LARP. Having LARP streams might be fun to do at some point. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see. I'm going to take some of this chocolate brown now and get all the boots done right quick. And, geez, you know what's crazy? There are some wraps right here. These are wraps on the boots. And before I actually do any painting, I'm actually going to pull out one of my old infantry and take a look, because it's been so long since I've painted this infantry. Maybe a couple years. I've painted over 100 of these guys. These are my favorite guys to paint. These are the guys I started learning my winning equation with as far as time goes. But I need to actually pull one out as a reference. This is crazy stuff. I know it's just me rambling, but this means a whole lot. This time for real? Fair enough, C-Nisty, fair enough. Let me pull the freaking dude out real quick. Let's see what we get here. Okay, we're good. Here's one of my guys. Okay, so I do the wraps chocolate brown as well. These are all they're all quick and easy infantry, how I paint these dudes. I don't give them any more time than they need, because I have 100 of these dudes. Actually, I probably have almost 100, like well over 120 of these guys. All kinds of stuff. But also, I can probably put away gold ship. Say goodbye to... So yeah, if you're looking for resin, this is resin quality. Not too shabby. Anywho. That's all done and dusted there. Let me get all this back on. And actually paint the boots. You would be a soldier of the 2E de Genie French, okay? Fair enough, fair enough. Google them, fair enough. Perhaps. I'm going to try to get some painting done, though. I've postponed it for too long. Slowly, but carefully. We're gonna get some colors on this dude. Also, how have the camera angles for painting been pretty decent? What I'm seeing, it doesn't look too bad from what I'm seeing. What do you guys think of it? Do you think it's sort of a decent placement? Before the stream, I was fiddling around with camera placement and kind of shuffling the workshop around. I like to shuffle things up every now and again, keep things fresh and interesting on the whole streaming front, because it's also fun to do. Now, it appeared for a second. Stuff can go in and out of focus sometimes. But it looks like for the most part, you can kind of see if I'm trying to get in a nook and cranny, you can actually see that happen, which is very, very interesting stuff. Very fun. Very fun stuff. I need to now watch this stream, and then I need to compare the way I'm talking with a guy I've been watching lately, because it was kind of funny. One thing I do every now and again is I'll watch a YouTube channel or a creator or just someone in general, and then I slowly, because I'm just binge watching all their stuff, I begin to slowly talk like them, and then I have to, like, find my OG accent or my OG way of speaking again. Early in the stream, you are fine. Don't worry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just wanted to check in with everyone, make sure we're all still doing good. But yeah, every now and then the accent will change. It is funny. Early in the stream, I was actually talking just like Chris Hansen. Okay, I was binge watching a lot of Chris Hansen stuff, and it was kind of funny. I want to do a short, fun thing inspired by that whole Chris Hansen's whole spiel, but about someone buying Warhammer before they finish painting their pile of shame, which might be fun. That was an idea I was floating around. I don't know if that'll happen, but I am still going to put it out there because it's funny. If you need to talk like Lord Heather, you excited for the Chris Hansen movie? I've heard about it. Don't know if I'm going to see it. I might. We'll see what happens. But not particularly excited, or I'm rather indifferent about the whole operation. Although I did hear that I saw Robert Pattinson was playing Chris Hansen, and I just couldn't help but laugh. I giggled because Robert Pattinson also, fun fact, in case you didn't know, he starred in the Twilight movies. And in the Twilight movies, he was like a soldier in World War I. And then he was dating like a high school girl. And then they fell in love. So the fact that he's now playing Chris Hansen just was funny to me. I don't know if it's based on anything, but to me, I linked the two together, and I just thought it was kind of funny. But everywhere you go, there you are in the whole regard. At the end of the day, right? They made a judge roll. The new Among Us thing. They made a judge roll. I have not played Among Us in a fair bit, so I have not seen the judge roll. That is interesting, though. I forgot about that. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I could ever watch the Chris Hansen movie, which is probably a fairly serious documentary about a fairly serious topic, and then I'll just be like, wow, that's the guy who did the thing as a vampire. Batman Odyssey, now Chris Hansen. That's a good point. Yeah, right. He was the Batman, right? In the newest Batman. I forget what the heck it was called, but I saw it. I just remember the something by the way, and how that was a bit of a meme song for a bit there back in the day. Sure, like you would love the Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile movies. They're about this detective who was a French soldier in World War I. So peak. What? That is the titles catch me. Okay, they catch my eye. That might be an interesting thing to watch at some point. Thank you for suggesting that. Now, I'm gonna do a little metallic stuff on this dude's radio. Yeah, the Batman, pretty good performance in my. I thought he did pretty good as the Batman as well. I like that. The Batman was also a bit of a national treasure of a movie because we got the "Does he know?" gif. So, I mean, say what you will about the movie. We got that, which kind of just overrides any qualms anyone's ever had with the movie and makes it good. So everywhere you go, there you are. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I liked I only watched it when it first came out. Haven't watched it since, but yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was kind of a fun. I just like the vibe of some of the Batman movies. How they can be just sort of especially, not to say real. I mean, you got you got the Riddler, okay? And you got the Joker, right? Maybe not the most real, but it's certainly a more mature sort of vibe to it, and I do kind of like that. It's kind of fun. It's a nice blend in my opinion, because I'm all marveled out. I've been out marveled. I'm done with the whole shebang ever since Endgame. So every now and then having sort of a gruesome superhero is sort of fun. In my opinion. To each their own. Alright, now this guy's all metaled up and looking nice and decent. I am going to now flesh up him. I'm going to flesh him up. Okay? Well, actually, I'm not going to flesh him up, because there are other things to flesh up as well. I'm going to finish painting boots and stuff for everyone else. Dark gray is the color. Lego Batman is the best Batman. No one can prove me wrong. I won't argue. I won't argue on that, okay? I won't argue. That was a good one. That was a good one. I feel like maybe have the French guy bleed out rust for the rust plague. I do plan... the swords, I usually do a rusty texture. So I do plan to have... Well, I'm going to splotch rust all over the sword, and there is going to definitely be some rust sort of seeping out as well as some blood, maybe some gore or something like that. It might be fun, some could say. In a bit of a grim dark way, you know what I mean? Now then, dark gray will be for the boots on. Although one thing, might agree with that. Lego Batman has the butler. True. A very fair point. Tetanus 2, Electric Boogaloo. Pretty much. Pretty much. For the puttees... You know what? I'm just gonna go, the Riddler. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I remember thinking the Riddler looked like Dream for some reason. Like the Minecraft streamer. Like, before he did the face reveal, before that whole thing happened, the Batman's Riddler is how I pictured Dream. Funny enough. There's a random fun fact resorting to Batman. I hope that was good. Hope that was worth your time. This is fun. I enjoy this too much. You have the OG Lego Riddler minifig? Okay, that is sick as all heck. I don't know if I have any, Oh, dude, you know what I could do now? Dude, you saying the Lego Batman minifig just brought up a core childhood memory. I don't know if anyone remembers the Lego movie. It was a pretty infamous movie. Everything is awesome. Everyone remember that song, okay? But I got Lego sets. Lego sets as a kid from that movie, because, you know, there was the Lego movie, and then they make sets from it. Ooh, that's fun, right? I want that, okay? And I got Lego Emmett. Now, Lego Emmett, remember, he has, what is it called? Was it called the Piece of Resistance? I'm going to really hope I'm not botching it, because that's some knowledge that I think is good to have on hand. I think it was the Piece of Resistance, right? And in the movie, it's glued onto him with super glue. But on the Lego sets, they actually have a little backpack piece that the Piece of Resistance attaches to. And my childhood dream that I could make a reality was I wanted to actually glue the Piece of Resistance on to be screen accurate. That's what I wanted to do way back in the day. So I could do that now. I have access to super glue. Might be fun to do something like that. Who knows? We'll do a dreams come true stream, perhaps. What? Oh, what? Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm going to try to showcase this on the stream here. But for a second, I could have sworn free tickets was so... Oh, your father used to work at Legoland? Holy frickin' peak, dude. That's sick. Now, look at the foot. It's a little blurred. I'm trying to do the best I can here. Gonna have to kind of hold it down lower at the screen. But it looks like there's a piece of paint dripping off of the shoe. I don't know if you can see it. It kind of looks like something's dripping off the shoe. That's just there. Like, I'm putting my brush there. That's not moving. I don't know what that is. Whether it's hot glue? No, it wouldn't be hot glue. Super glue? I don't know. But there is a big drop on the bottom of this dude's foot. I just thought that was interesting to note. It ultimately won't affect it. Can't really see it, but still interesting to note, and I wanted to share it. So everywhere you go, there you are, I suppose. Now, gray boots look fine, I suppose. They look decent. That's just the rust plague getting to him. Yeah, you might be right. You might very well be right. Also, let me finish up this dude's boot here. The other thing I gotta remember, gonna be a lot of dirt and a lot of gore effects on these dudes, okay? So what I also love about basing, and you know, I can be a bit slow. I'm a bit of a slow painter sometimes, and I will admit that. I like to savor the process a bit, a fair bit, okay? But I love bases because there's tons of... You can easily hide your mistakes with gore. With gore and with blood effects and with dirt and stuff like that. So bases I can do really a lot faster than what I usually do everything else because of that, for that reason. So I don't need to worry too much about boots being slightly bled over as far as the paint goes. Maybe something doesn't quite look right on the uniform or something. Because there's going to be a lot of red over it in the end. And it will be... And ultimately it will work out. Maybe use rust like rabies with rust foam and chisels. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Traditionally what I have my guys is they're just beat up and torn up, essentially. But ultimately we'll see. We'll see where it goes ultimately. I'm also going to take a little fell ground, do some showcasing, or some patching up real quick. There we go. Looking nice and dandy there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Whoa. Oh, that's an incredible nemesis. Beautiful. Incredible. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Back to painting these guys. Next thing to do. Do I still have this color on the palette? I do. I do have some access to a black-brown color. Black-brown is what I use for the Germans' boots. That is these guys right here. Okay? Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. Then again, it's literally just boots. So, you know, they're not the most shabby thing to begin with. All right. And that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun what's happening here on our... The camera angle is actually... I'm actually kind of happy with how this is working out so far. I got some hope with this. This is actually kind of decent, not gonna lie. So like one video should be a Discord propaganda thing with various things from the Discord members showcased. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. That might be fun to do. I know in the next video, which is going to be this Mortarion that I'm painting, and that will include Mortarion's base here, I am probably going to mention, because we kind of have the membership and the Patreon's up. I didn't really want to do any announcements because I was kind of going to move everyone over to Patreon, or at least advertise for the Patreon more so than the YouTube membership, just because Warhammer's been very copyright interesting lately, and a lot of small channels have been sort of bonked into eternity, and so I kind of want to have everyone on the Patreon, so if that ever does happen to me, which I pray that it does not, but I can have Patreon and I can put stuff up there on the Patreon, worst case scenario. But yes, I think doing some showcasing might be fun as well. I think I'll try to find a way to include that when I start making the video. That might be fun. I'll have everyone submit like some of the most prized models. I think that's a fun idea. We'll get the community involved. That's some cool stuff. Also, random whatever the heck. Oh yeah, this is from a Master Vox from Acadian Command Squad. That's what all this random stuff is here. I'm not going to paint that just yet. I'm going to paint underneath it, aka the body. Okay? And then I will eventually paint this as we go along. I'm also looking at the time. We're already an hour and a half into this. I don't know about you, but time has been flying forward for me. I'm having so much freaking... I'm really enjoying this. This is fun. This is fun, and hopefully you're all enjoying it too, but I'm really enjoying... I mean, we're helping out the community. We're learning some fun stuff as well. We're doing all kinds of shenanigans. I mean, this is... I'm having a lot of fun here. I'm having a lot of fun. It's awesome. And we're getting painting done. So, I mean, overall, I'm a happy camper, dare I say. Also, I am just using straight black for the belts on these gentlemen here. That is basically all I do here. I do wonder why Morty gets such a sick base, but poor Soldier 93 only has basic mud for a base. Because when it comes to my infantry, that's a very good point. It's a great point, and I appreciate that, okay? When it comes to my infantry I paint for speed. They are not scenery. They are painted for speed, okay? When I look at it this way, and a streamer I watched, Mortarion Glory, who's a guard-specific streamer, he's since moved on to, he's since included some other various games and stuff that all look very fun as well. But he brought up a very nice point that I kind of live by when I paint my armies, and that is infantry. It's that you go very fast when you paint your infantry, and you get them done as quick as possible, so you can take a lot of time to make sure your bigger models, like your tanks or your sentinels or your medium models, so you can spend a lot more time on them to bring them up to a really nice higher quality. And so that's kind of the that's sort of the take I live by when painting. So that's why they have basic mud, because I try to paint I try to challenge myself and paint for speed, and I think I'll be doing some of that live at some point. Now, a couple other things to paint on these guys. Now, I mean, the thing is, this is a pretty, the colors are pretty just blocked in, you know? There's not a whole lot happening. I think before I start adding blood and stuff, it is time to start adding some pale flesh. We're going to start fleshing these guys out real quick. And so to do that, I'm going to take a little, let me see, I had a color that I like to use. I think the color I like using is just Deck Tan. And that is, now, was it Deck Tan or was it, hold on, let me think. It might have been Basic Skin Tone. That has a bit of a more, there's more life in that. We'll see. I'm gonna give it an honest, or actually, I'm gonna use Light Flesh. Light Flesh is outrageously pale, so it'll be perfect for this. It's also watery, so it'll go on nice and thin to keep some of the details. Mortarions, the reason you have a Hydra. Fair enough, guess you could say. I'm so tired and need to go sleepy. Fair enough. Well, thank you for tuning in and engaging. We're having a lot of fun here. I'm really enjoying it. It's fun. Now, I'm gonna be taking some light flesh. I'm gonna see what make me a sandwich. Thank you, Mossy. But I'll have to pass for now. I'm still out sandwiched from yesterday for probably the rest of the week, good sir. That you funded, okay? You made a killer peanut butter jelly sandwich yesterday, by the way. I want to just shout that out, I suppose. Now, let's take a look at what light flesh looks like over some corpse, okay? Okay, this is exactly what I wanted here. Make Mossy a sandwich or make me a burger? I'll make a burger sandwich. How about that? And I'll make it for myself. Does that sound good? And the only reason I'm not making it for myself just to gloat. No, I just honestly think if I were to mail the sandwich or the burger to you, it wouldn't get to you in time and still be edible, you know? Even if I booked an express flight, funny enough, I don't know if it'd be possible for me to get over there, even if I carried the burger with me. Would you ever paint 1/72nd scale French soldiers in the future? There's no plan to. However, an idea I did have a while ago was to make a Battlefield 1 map in real life. Actually sculpt out the terrain and probably make the Rupture map. And I would make it a certain scale to sort of not be outrageously big, but then I would populate it with soldiers. And the two factions that fight on that map are French and German. So now, whether or not that happens is another thing. That's just an idea that I've had floating around for a few years now. But that would be the time I did paint, if that ever happened. We'll see what happens in the future. It might be fun to do, maybe expand to not just Warhammer, but also just do some fun diorama making stuff. We'll see what happens. But I think 1/72nd scale might be a good scale to do a map, because Battlefield 1 maps are notoriously big, which is why it's the greatest game ever, in my opinion. So yeah, I think making the scale, because I also float around, I'll do it in 28mm scale. I don't know, I want to make it as to scale as possible. I would want to try to make it as good as possible. I think doing it in 28mm scale, the map would be way too big. Way too huge. So 1/72nd might be a lot more manageable. Also, I am applying light flesh just all over the exposed ribs or anything. anywhere where there's going to be some flesh or some guts, because I will use contrast paint, a bone color for the ribs here, followed by some blood, followed by some fine highlighting. There's going to be a bunch. Now we're into the splotching. Okay, this is where it gets a little on the violent side, a little on the grotesque side of the pond, of the pool, of the shenanigans. And also, I'm going to use deck tan instead of light flesh. I'll finish the faces with the light flesh, but then I'm going to use deck tan for the bones. That'll be a good bones. How do I clean brushes and fix back the brush into the original shape? Now, I don't. That's an excellent question. Thank you. I don't do like a dedicated brush care. I don't do dedicated brush care. Meaning brush soap. I don't like take it and do anything fancy like that, or run it under a sink in warm water or something like that. For example, this brush I've had here, I have had for the better part of 3 years, maybe 4 years, okay? And it has lasted a good while. I have not ever used brush soap. All I do is, well, simply put, I simply grab a little paint, okay? Where's my paint? There it is. There's a wet paint. I try to keep it on the tip of the brush, away from the, whatever the heck that joint is called. I don't really know too much. And then I kind of, go about my painting, do all that. It all looks nice and dandy. Good as gold on that entire operation there. And then, the other thing is I don't let paint sit on it way too much, maybe longer than some, but then after a step like that, I will immediately grab my water. Now, this is not clean water. I need to change this out, but I don't, because I haven't found the need to. But I'll simply take the brush and I just simply rinse it around in the water for a little bit. I will, I tap out the excess water, and then I just kind of wipe it off and call it good. Brushes that have the frayed furls, I don't fix. I don't have that happen too much, except although I do have one that has happened here. Okay? So there's some frayed edges. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening here. This brush has seen better days. I think some texture paint got in it at some point. I also somehow got super glue on the tip of it. So as we tried to move it, the whole tip moves as one, so it doesn't paint nicely. And when this happens, I usually... Well, this just kind of gets decommissioned now. I don't really use it now. Maybe for specific instances where I need something like this. But nothing too crazy. I don't do a whole lot of the brush cleaning. Personally. Just the basic rinsing it in water, and once it's run its due course, I'll just turn it into a brush that I use for random whatevers, essentially. Now, let's see. What needs more pale? This guy needs a hair more on the pale side right here. There we go. Now I can clean up. If your brushes are cheap, then you can just buy new ones. That's kind of how I roll. These brushes I just got on Amazon. It was like 12 bucks for a pack of 10 of them of various different sizes. And I've been using 2 sizes for years with only that one failing. And that was the one I've been using since the beginning. So since before I kind of further developed my techniques and habits. All right. Okay, now I'm paling up this soldier now, and I'm going to be kind of careful. I don't really want to have to redo anything here. And there's going to be some blood coming out here, so it'll be interesting. So I don't have to worry too terribly much. Cheapy says he's heading out for dinner. So long. Cheapy, thanks for tuning in. That's kind of neat how we made it work. That is awesome. And thanks for your help. Thank you for your input, for helping some people with their 3D printing needs. We're doing it. We're being assistants. This is good. I enjoy it very much. All right. Now then, let's see here. All right. Now the flesh is painted. Might be some areas in just which I need to do a little tidy up on the uniform, like right here. There we go. That's a little tidied up better there. That's a little tidied up here. The other thing, there's going to be several washes and dirt washes that are going to be applied all over this, so a lot of this can and will be covered up, also just by some splatters and stuff like that. Next color I'm going to pull out for the bones specifically. A good bone base color, I find, is Deck Tan from Vallejo. It's a sort of off-white. Almost like a very light gray, but it's slightly warm. Almost like it's got a hint of tan in it. Ah, what a convenient thing to have on the bottle. Now, in that case, we'll take a little bit of it onto the wet palette and a little bit onto the brush. Get some excess off my hand if we need to. And now we can work and find our way. Interestingly enough, this corpse doesn't have too much bones. He just has ripped flesh. Which, you know, is a little terrifying, but it's still interesting nonetheless. And this guy's foot just goes into nothing, so I won't do anything there. I did light flesh on this dude's ribs, but I am going over it because I have since remembered that I do Deck Tan. I'm going to apply that sort of thin to try to not obscure too many details there. And, oh, that is another thing I remember about ribs. Okay. Don't have to do the Deck Tan first, believe it or not. I've come up with a way to streamline it already. So I will just paint other various bones that are already out that won't have too much gore effects on them, like this dude's forearm and hand here. Looking very unfortunate. R.I.P. for real, for real. And his foot. His foot is also just, you know, it's a very bony foot. If I had to judge a foot by its, you know, matter, it's very bony. So now that looks nice and good there. Also, you can kind of see, like, on dirt and on details, I kind of did a zenithal highlighting, so kind of gets a little dark, sort of in shadows area when you look underneath it, but when you look up, it's all bright. I sprayed it with Deck Tan, so everything does have a Deck Tan coat already, so I'm kind of just adding sort of a bolstering layer onto it as I go. And then let me just kind of move the gray up a little bit more. There we go. Wonderful. And also I see some Felgrow that I missed, so hold on, let me just nail this helmet right quick. Even though this helmet will probably be fairly dirty, because this is a helmet without a wearer, interestingly enough. And there we go. That looks good. Looks nice, if I do say so myself. Might be interesting to do the camo pattern. I do have a camo pattern that I do on helmets like this for special weapons. That might be fun to add a little spice of color. We'll see what ultimately happens here. But I'll take a little more of our Deck Tan and just finish bolstering up some of the really defined bone details, like the hand. And that looks good. There we go. Looking very fine. And now I'm wondering, is this German's hand a bone, or is that an actual flesh piece? That is an actual bone, except there's so much dirt that I accidentally glued onto it. It's a little unnoticeable, although it kind of just looks like destroyed flesh. So we might be able to convert that from being just a dirt-covered thing into something that actually resembles maybe just a completely charred hand for maybe an explosion or something. We'll see what we can't get. That looks good. He still has his feet there. Also, his jaw bone is showing. That is a very interesting bit of information there. Now then, let's see. We, in general, got all our bones and stuff done. We do just have this Frenchman, who does have half of his face missing, unfortunately for him. I'm going to try to go in and hit that a little bit with the Deck Tan as well. And that is not too bad. It's pretty decent. And then the other side, his face is kind of normal. So I'm actually going to take the light flesh again and try to just hit his face there. Try to keep everything at least a little separated, you know? All right. And then they'll probably maybe have some hair or something going on the back here. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens in all due time, and then why that dries before I go to fix anything. I will also take some Deck Tan, because Deck Tan is also the color of the gas masks, of all my gas masks, for my Russian-inspired proxies here. So, I can take a little bit of that and just apply that here. Now, you might be thinking... Jim, that's low-key a loading screen tip. You can just buy new... That really is. That's very true. But you might be thinking that doing deck tan for the bones and the gas mask might make them a little... Look a little similar. Which was a thought that I had when I was first doing something like this. But I will eventually be going over the bones with a bony, I believe it's called Bony Matter, which is an Army Painter speed paint. And that's basically just a very light brown wash to kind of give the bones a sort of brownish look to them. And so in the end, it will all work out, although I was nervous when first doing something sort of similar to that. Now let me do a little cleanup here, and I will do some more cleanup onto our Frenchman, although the paint dried a little. Although, you know what I can actually do? I can actually just, I'll give him some hair right now. I'll just add a little brown. Maybe a little more brown. That's a little faded. Let me try to bolster up the opacity of hair. And just go on and brown up right here. And that is not too terrible. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. I'm now going to take some more of the pale blue uniform here and kind of do some patchwork on this whole operation here. Make sure that looks decent enough, and it do. Very nice. Okay. Now, oh, also, sorry, he has a hand. Don't forget the hands. This dude has some stuff as well. I think he also has boots I might have missed. I haven't done a base with this many bodies, so it is kind of funny trying to keep track of them. I'm forgetting a whole bunch of stuff, but at least I'm seeing them eventually, right? All right. There we go. Now that hand is there. He has another hand. He also has boots, which I should probably paint as well. There we go. Now he's got a hand. That's nice and decent there. The 3D print resolution on these guys is pretty incredible. The way you can actually see layers of some of the puttees here is pretty incredible. I'm impressed. Well, also thinking... No, that couldn't be it. For a second, I thought maybe that's a bit of leg showing? No, I don't think so, though. I think the trousers go all the way down, so that would make sense for that to happen. I think I'll do a similar chocolate brown for the boots here as well, while I remember them. And I'll go up and do this similar brown with the puttees as well. And it'll all be washed and bloodied and stuff like that. And you know, for the most part, I'm going to try to make the base look good, make it nice and presentable. But we also got to remember it's framing Mortarion. So we don't have to, and it's also going to be covered in dirt, so there's a lot of leeway to kind of be a little more carefree would be the best way to describe it, which is part of why I love bases so much. Because then I can kind of just fly through them real quick. Now, this isn't particularly quick, to be fair, but this is also one of the biggest... This is sort of a diorama as well as a base, interestingly enough. And now let us see. Is there anything else that I haven't hit? Oh, this dude's fleshy hands. That is very funny. They almost got away from me. My goodness. And we can always go back and flesh up some stuff if we missed it. But for now, we're not missing anything yet because we're just, getting a good read on everything. All right. There's that. Also, fun fact, I don't know if I got this recorded or not, but this pose is meant to be leaning over this tree, or a tree stump. That's what this guy's leaning on, is a tree. And this arm right here, was usually hanging low, hanging sort of behind him like that. So what I ended up doing was I snapped it off, and then just readjusted it and put some filler stuff and to make it look just like it might have been dislocated or something. So that's fun. Leaf, howdy, Leaf. Welcome, welcome. We're doing fun stuff. We're doing gruesome stuff as well. So we're doing there's a whole lot happening on this base. We've accomplished a fair amount so far. It's going pretty good. I'm having fun with it. I think next up now, though... Oh, for the love of Pete. I keep missing... There's so many hands that I have to paint that require a fleshy color. And I think, for real now, this is the last guy I need to flesh out. Pun intended. And we'll see what happens. Gruesome is fun. It is rather fun. I do enjoy basing. And basing in this style. It's kind of... I do enjoy it. It's fun. Alright, now that the hands are fleshed out, now we can start with some gore. We're going to start up on some blood, okay? And I'm going to save the ribs till after, because there will be some interesting shenanigans happening there. And now, for blood, for dried blood, or not as fresh blood, I have a great paint. Great paint for this. I love this paint. I love this color so much. It's great. Oh, dude, so good. Don't even get me started. It's so good. It is Vallejo Burnt Red right here, a.k.a. Rojo Tostado, which, you know, I didn't know that's what my favorite taco at my favorite Mexican food truck was named after. I didn't know it translated to burnt red, but it does, I guess. Everywhere you go, there you are. And I'm going to take some of this straight from the bottle, kind of put it on there. Forgot to ask earlier, are FDM and clothes printers safe to use in, say, your bedroom? Some people will say otherwise. I think it would be safe. I think there might be some air quality interesting shenanigans, because when it's printing, you can smell it. You can smell it. So you might be smelling microplastics, which might not be the most optimal. And I'm not sure how enclosed works. I only have an open because I have an A1. And it's in my workshop, not necessarily my room. And I guess it can also depend on the plastic, according to Leaf. And we trust Leaf here. Leaf is pretty... He knows what he's doing, to say the least. But now... So I can't really help too much on the whole ventilating thing, just because I haven't done too much research, just because my printers aren't directly in my bedroom with me. So sorry, I wish I could be of more help, though. But now I'm just going to take a fat brush here, okay? Load the sucker up with some of our paint. Get a little bit off onto our finger. And now begins some splotching all around of some red. And now we're going to really quickly start to add some gory and some gruesome colors to our models, okay? And so that's just a rip open there. We also have some, oh goodness, we have a leg that's completely ripped open here. And so we're going to do all kinds of shenanigans there. This dude just kind of lost both of his upper leg. That's suboptimal. You feel bad for him. But it looks like he's dead, so he won't have to live with that. So, you know, we can have some peace in that fact, right? Anywho. And then kind of where the flesh meets the actual bone, we'll do some shenanigans there. Vent shaft to the window. I think, yeah, something like that. Something like that might work. And then let's see. This dude lost his hand, so I'll do like some flesh spattering there. He also has an exposed jaw now. Recommend putting a 3D printer in a room with a window you can open. A fan can also work. Yeah, fair enough. And so this guy, he does... Okay, there are some tears here, so we can do some fleshy matter there as well. There will also be some fresher blood as we go on in this process here. And this is why I eventually said, oh, I shouldn't be base coating the ribs here, because it's all just going to be base coated red anyways, as seen here. But once that's all nice and done there, and also kind of getting in there where his leg starts to sort of rip off, and even though there's not necessarily a defined stump here, it kind of goes into rubble, I'll put some blood around there to kind of start staining the dirt around. Although I do have other ways of doing this that will be somewhat more apparent later in the base process. And he's also missing a hand, which I can sort of add some blood effects there as well. This guy here also has some tears in his uniform. He's more so looks like he just got absolutely yeeted. Looks like Mortarion hit him with like the blunt edge of his scythe, And so there are some rips in his clothing here, but not so much a defined cut or anything specifically off of that. And then maybe just, add some fun stuff around his head because, why not? Who knows? Let's see. We have this British soldier here who doesn't necessarily... The actual... Him laying down, this body here is usually for a prone position machine gunner that I just converted to make it look like was dead. But I do have sort of the thought that it's kind of a rip around the neck, which is what got him there. So this is where we can get into some sort of gruesome storytelling, which, is a bit... it can be a bit harsh sometimes, but everywhere you go, there you are, I suppose, right? And last but certainly not least, our Frenchman. And so probably areas around where, he, was stabbed with the sword the size of an actual human would probably be the best place to put some of this stuff, right? And I'm just going to really dot it all around there. And then dot it kind of coming out here as well. Going all around the wound in the wound channel. Does he have any other... He doesn't really have any other rips. Part of his face is ripped off, so I suppose I can kind of add some blood effects here as well. Of course, the Frenchman is in that pose. Yeah, that was an interesting... Didn't know what people were talking about for the longest time, but people commented, they're like, is he presenting himself? And me being innocent. Innocent as all heck, as you all know I am, right? I'm like, what is that? I eventually found out, and I went, well, no, he's dead. But, to each their own, I suppose. It was kind of funny, though. Because I legit had no idea what was happening. It's because some guy in the comments on Instagram was like, is he presenting himself? And then someone was like, I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw it. And the comment had the most likes. And for the life of me, I'm like, I thought what they were talking about was the Poxwalker for some reason. And I'm like, no, he was a friendly soldier that just got converted into a Poxwalker. And then someone commented back, and then he's like, that's not what we mean, champ. And I went, okay, touche. Touche is what I said unto them. Alrighty here. Hold on, let me adjust that a bit. There we go. So now, we got some general blood and splatter and all kinds of freaking shenanigans happening here. Oh god, I see it now? Yeah. Okay, so, excellent. I'm glad that's what we've inspired amongst the entire operation. Oh, this guy needs a belt. That's what he needs. Hold on. This will save... This is going to save the whole operation. This right here. Okay? Because once everyone sees that he's wearing a belt, everyone's going to know that his pants are up. Because his belt is up, right? That's how this works, dude. I mean, they don't call me the genius for nothing, right? Look at that. Now, everyone knows... for sure what's going on. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Nothing to see here. I'm going to really hope that doesn't take away from Mortarion too much. But I guess ultimately we will see what happens. Oh, also, hold on. There's some more rips on... Oh, this dude's whole leg is ripped. I didn't even notice that. Okay, there we go. More flesh and stuff there. Little flesh stuff here. Also some other stuff there. What if his pants are ripped? Look at them. I painted them. They ain't ripped. There's a crease, but they ain't ripped. And I'm just going to really hope that that is good enough to stem the tide. Is Mr. Manhattan around? I am not sure. Or Jim. Good question. Good question. I am not sure. Also, we've hit the stream time marker. I'm going to go a little longer. I'm having fun. We're at the fun part. We're starting to get some gore and stuff happening, so I think I'll try and see if we can't get any bones painted up right quick. Also, while I have the pale blue out, the pale blue is the color I use for the lenses of my gas mask, so I am going to apply that onto the lenses real quick. And it will be fun. There we go there. Looking decent. This will also be washed, so it probably won't be as apparent once it's all said and done. But it's good enough. Now, I'm going to take some deck tan again, like we mentioned before, and I'm going to now hit the ribs. And specifically, I'm going to try to just keep the whole thing raised. All right? Just sort of hit majority of the high points on the ribs Just so you can kind of see it and go like, oh, yep, those are ribs. And then go about your day, you know what I mean? There we go. So there's kind of a thick application there. He's got ribs over here as well, which is kind of funny. I wasn't sure if humans had ribs on both sides, but, you know, apparently the sculptors here think we do. So I'll just, you know, I'll trust that they did the research. Now, that looks good there. I'll take some more for the ribs over here. Now we got ribs here, okay? So let's get all those up, done, and ribbed up. Okay? It's like it's a freaking 4th of July barbecue. Okay, we're getting all the ribs ready and nice and dandy, are we? Interesting, interesting. What do you mean in both sides? Well, look at the torso, dude. Do you see how he has ribs on the left and right? Yeah, I'm like, really? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen my ribs yet. All right. Now, that looks pretty decent there. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to take a speed paint. A Bony Matter speed paint from Army Painter. This right here. Conveniently for bones, interestingly enough. And I'm going to see about adding a little contrast, or really adding some boneness to the bones, conveniently enough. How interesting. Let's see what we can't get done here, right? And so all I do is I just kind of go over fairly thickly all over the entire deck tan surface. And already, I think that's a great bone look. And it contrasts nicely against the ground, although the ground will be a brown at some point, but it will be a much darker brown. And so it'll kind of work out, hopefully, as we go. Usually does in previous attempts I've made at this. And I can also do that to his foot. And this also helps blend. I don't know if you saw it there. I didn't see it until the last minute, but I had a little extra, I had a little gray that I had accidentally gotten onto the foot here. Okay, but after the speed paint, we apply it nice and thickly. You can't really tell any gray. You might be able to tell it. It's a little darker. It's right there. Right where the foot meets the start of the leg there. Kind of at the ankle joint there, but doesn't look too shabby. This guy also has a bony hand, so I will bonify this hand. I also did forget to make a flesh amalgamation on his other hand, because I got dirt on it, so we're just going to say it's a bunch of... His hand is very fleshy, is what we'll say there. And that's not too terrible if I do say so myself. It's wonderful. Terrific, even. All right. Let's see. And then the ribs. The ribs... I think the contrast paint works all right on the ribs. It certainly stains it. It makes everything a little darker. But it's not for the worse, I don't think. It kind of gives everything a sort of more ancient... Or not ancient, but just a dirtier look. A less clean, less refined, not like a here's a bone cutout, but it's like here's a bone, this dude is dead RIP look. You know what I mean? Makes sense? Good. And then we'll do similar situations over for this dude's ribs. Now, no more bones, so we kind of got all the bones out and about there. I am going to take a little more... I'm going to take some basic skin tone now, and I'm going to do a little layering on the faces. What I need to do is I need to take a quick gander at some previously done models to see how I did the flesh there. As a reference, I want to check something, so I'm going to check that right quick. And see what the whole situation is. There we go. Okay. So here's one of my previous Death Guard. And I can see that I used a basic skin tone form. And you can see how dirty these bases are going to get and just how amalgamated they all will be. And this particular guy, I painted with a basic skin tone, and then there's just so much dirt that nothing else really matters. So everywhere you go, there you are. But that's good that we learned that. Okay, then. Now, with that note, and because it also just gives the skin a tinge more warmth, so the death seems a little more fresh. Which I know it's all rather gruesome, but I just prefer being a little... I prefer to be uber grimdark in this whole operation here. So there's all that. We'll do blood and dirt spatters at some point. Maybe some maybe a not so much a contrast paint, but these will also be, they'll have a wash applied to them. So it'll just be, get the paint on there, and then once the wash is there, we will notice a difference soon. All right. And already I'm vibing with this a whole lot better. It's just a tinge on the pinker side. Not Pinkerton Detective Agency, those who know. But it makes our soldier look a little bit more human, if that makes sense. Rather than the completely pale flesh. There's a tinge of something that was there. That I think looks pretty good, in my opinion. And again, there's going to be so much dirt on here, some of these guys won't be recognizable. But that is fine. And I don't paint the eyes. I also don't paint the eyes. I'll just put that out there because I barely painted eyes on Mortarion. I'm not going to do it on some corpses. I like to vary with I like to put gas masks on a lot of the times, wherever and whenever I can. There. Now our Frenchman's nice and all fleshed out there. And let's see. I'm going to take a little deck tan and apply it onto this dude's bone face here. And then I'll let that dry a bit, but then I'm going to put the Bony Matter speed paint on there to kind of get a nice bony look as we go about the whole operation. Now, let's see. I can take a little more of the speed paint and kind of just bolster up some areas there. There we go. Looking good, looking good. And now, let me see. Next up should be this side. Okay. So we'll do a little bit of the deck tan sort of look here. Because this dude has an actual skull on half of his face. Then another side is fairly warm. And there we go. Now they're all kind of basically blotched in. All the basic colors are blotched in. I went a little over time because I was having fun, but I do need to skedaddle now, ladies and gentlemen. But we got a lot done. Okay, when I started this, the only thing that was done was the wood on the trench and then a little bit of this Poxwalker. But we've since worked on the Poxwalker a little bit. We have then gone on to do several details, like all these corpses here, okay? So we got some basic colors blotched in. There's still more stuff to do. There's still a lot more gore to do. But I think sooner or later, we're going to have a fully built Mortarion on a fully freaking done-up base. And we'll see exactly what happens there. So until I see you in a couple days for the next stream, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We had a new Patreon supporter, Coffee, 1-Z3E. That's just the YouTube handle I'm reading. I don't know the actual Patreon name just yet. But a new Patreon, a new member to the Discord, which was kind of incredible. That happened. And I'm still a little in disbelief. So, Coffee, welcome, if you're still watching. Welcome so much to the Trenchborn Legion Discord server. Welcome to the community, and thank you very much for your support. It makes doing this whole thing worth it. I'm having a lot of fun. We're able to help answer people's questions about printing, painting, all kinds of stuff. It's a whole lot of fun. I'm having a whole lot of fun here, and you guys give me the ability to do it. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And until I see you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all, and God bless. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. You all have a great rest of your day.